Austin, thank you so much for being with us.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
I know it's been a long night for you. First, Austin, based on your reporting on the campaign for and against the TRE, do you think this strong no vote comes as a surprise to city leaders?
I think so. I think it has been viewed as a stunning rebuke. There was hope. I think they thought it would be close, and there was hope that there was, hope for the for side to prevail. But the lopsided margin, voters came out more than 30% against the proposition. I think was a surprise more than the loss itself.
And it was a relatively low vote, low turnout election. Do you see, though, any important voting patterns or trends in the Proposition Q results?
Right, right. That is true that compared to your typical election, it was a lower turnout. But this was kind of a unique election in that it was in an off year. There was no members of Congress, no president on the ballot. And really the highest ticket item was this ballot proposition. And for an election like that, the turnout was actually quite high. Typically it was about 25% according to results from the county clerk. But these type of elections usually are much lower than that. So I think that is kind of the first trend that we have seen, and we'll be looking more closely at who voted for the measure, which parts of the city voted for or against the measure, and what that says about the city's priorities and what council should be looking at doing going forward.
It was very, very interesting to see these numbers, like you said. And we've seen, though, today the mayor's comment about regaining voters' trust given this unprecedented decision. How do you think the mayor's office and the city leaders will go about doing that? And what's next then for creating a new budget?
Right. That was the sentiment that we heard both from voters at the polls on election day and from the elected officials who we were talking to after results poured in. A clear signal that portions of the city have lost faith in the city's ability to provide services, to use tax money efficiently. And per the mayor's statement you referenced, he says the way that the city council can begin to regain that trust is through this budget revision process that they will have to undertake in the next few weeks. It'll happen relatively quickly. Basically, this proposition would have created $110 million that the city could have used for homeless services, parks maintenance, some public safety costs, but they won't have that money. And so they'll have to decide which of those proposed programs should be cut, should other areas be cut. And I think, per the mayor's statement and conversations with other council members, one way that they can achieve trust in that process is to be very transparent with the public about how they're making decisions. And in part, that means conducting what some may refer to as like an efficiency study to assess how effectively and efficiently the city is operating, and then to use those results to pare down operations perhaps or deliver services more effectively and efficiently.
What do you think, though, is the cause of this loss of trust?
We heard a lot of focus from voters on the city logo debacle. For one, the city spent more than $1 million designing a new brand, and which included a new logo for the city, and that rolled out in the months leading up to this election. That left a really bitter taste for a lot of voters. There was a lot of frustration about the city, being in a budget deficit and trying to raise taxes, yet spending money on this logo. Also, Statesman reporting revealed questionable spending of council discretionary funds on business class travel and high-end meals and other things that clearly resonated with voters. These are items that voters told us at the polls they didn't want their public officials spending money on. So I think a lot of the frustration uh, was with those kinds of issues, coupled with it's already expensive to live in Austin. It's already one of the most unaffordable cities in America, and raising taxes would kind of increase that burden. And I think that was another issue that resonated with voters.
And should we draw any broader political learnings from this? Austin is famously very progressive. Do you think this signals a shift? Or is it too soon, do you think, to draw a conclusion like that from this?
I think it's too early to say. It is notable that, as you pointed out, Austin has a pretty progressive voting history, pretty liberal, including on these kinds of tax and spend measures. Housing bonds and infrastructure bonds for roads and transportation projects. Historically, Austin voters have been more than willing to support those kinds of measures. So, in many ways, this is an unprecedented defeat for this kind of measure. But whether or not that signals a broader shift against those kinds of priorities and policies, I think it's too early to tell.
Well, this has definitely been a surprisingly newsworthy election. Austin Sanders with the Austin American-Statesman, thank you so much for breaking it down and sharing your insights with us.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it, Laura.
Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave us a comment below to let us know your thoughts on this video. And don't forget, you can watch full episodes of Austin Insight for free in the PBS app.